And how do everyone, and welcome to the Real Estate Radio Show, featuring none other than Chris Lofthus of the Chris Lofthus Group at Keller Williams Realty. And Chris, what a pleasure as always to have you on the show and hear about all the great things that are going on in the real estate world. And first, let's start out each and every week as we do. There are people that follow the show every Saturday, and there are others that just come across the dial and say, hey, who is Chris Lofthus? And I say he's a guy that's looking out for your best interest. Chris, how come you do this show every Saturday?
Well, we do this show to keep a positive spin on what's going on with the real estate market and the economy in general, with just what's going on around Boise and all the growth and the excitement. And we have such great optimism of what's going on in the future of real estate around here. And every week, it's I talk about it with my group, the people that work with me, Annette, Jerry, Sharon, and everybody, and we talk about, just in general what's going on, and it's really getting exciting. We're talking about new construction, parade of homes is coming. There's just so much excitement in the air about real estate right now. It's a great time.
Chris, you have a wonderful story. You were an athlete in high school and college, went on to play college baseball not too far from here in Twin Falls.
Yep.
Professional golfer, played a lot of golf in the area. Really good at the real estate business, and you said, my home is the great state of Idaho, and your story just kind of blossoms from there, from your kids to your lovely wife to what you've done with your business. Tell our listeners a little bit about kind of that excitement of, I always like athletes because they're competitive. I like people that play golf because they understand golf is like life. Sometimes there's sand, sometimes there's birdies, sometimes there's bogeys, but at the same time keeps you on that even keel, and that's what your business is about.
Well, yeah, exactly right. I talked to a client yesterday. We were discussing the golf in general and the patience that it takes with golf. And what a difficult game it can be. Some make it look really easy, some make it look really difficult. It's kind of the same thing with real estate. These last 4 or 5 years have been really kind of a rough time on people in general and what's going on. And I kind of look back on what I've gone through in my career, and you look at the things I've done. I've changed from being in the golf business to different things I've done in my life, and the big move we made to Boise. And kind of goes back to this whole thing we talk about wanting to move to Boise and why people are moving here and why people are flocking here, and what's going on with the housing market is because of the fact that just like we moved here, we love it. I mean, there's just so much energy and going on downtown, and everything we discuss week in and week out. And a lot of people a lot of people don't like it with this movement of new people coming in here. But they're great people. I sell to people every day that come in from Phoenix, Seattle, Denver, and they're people that actually genuinely are choosing Boise and wanting to live here.
Chris, give us an update on your family. I know earlier in the week, I think it was last Tuesday, you had a piano recital. Or tell us about, give us an update about your kids, what they're doing.
My kids are all good. I have 4 kids under 7. I have Catcher 7, Cooper 6, Lola 4, and Savannah 3. Lola had the pleasure of breaking her arm this week, which was kind of an experience.
Is she going to be okay?
Yeah, she's fine. Everything's good on the forefront. But
now did I hear, and I know, I'm kind of throwing you a dummy curve, but tell us the story about Catcher.
Catcher, my son Catcher?
Yeah, how did he get the name Catcher? Is that because his dad's a
pitcher? This is actually a true
story.
Well, we're a big baseball family. Like you said, I played baseball at College of Southern Idaho. My brother played baseball for the Oakland A's. Really good friend of my brother's is Billy Bean, who's the general manager, Moneyball, the movie. Mm-hmm. And when my wife got pregnant, the deal was if it was a girl, she could name it. If it was a boy, I got to name it. And so I came up with Catcher.
Catcher, and I'm sure Catcher will be pleased about that.
Hey, it's a great name.
Hey, if Billy Bean drafts him, you're good to go.
I've never met another kid named Catcher.
There you have it. And if Catcher writes a book about like barley or rye, it'd be Catcher and the Rye. All right, chrislofthus.com is the website. Contact us at clgeagle.com. Folks, we want to make sure as you listen to the show, a couple of things as you're driving around town, you may see a house, you go, hey, I want to make that house a home. You can give Chris a call, 350-6228, 350-6228, or when you hear the great news that he's going to share with us today, you might say, you know what, I'm not sure if I want to list my home, but I'm going to pick up the phone and do that. We want to make that an option for you, 350-6228. So, Chris, as we do each and every week, you kind of give us an overview on the listings and the closings. Let's start with Ada County.
Ada County, yeah, it's again, we're off again, which is, we discussed this week whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. If you're a seller, it's kind of a quagmire. It's a good thing for the fact that there's no other houses on the market. So if you happen to want to list your house, you couldn't find a better time. And when we dropped another, I think another 10, 15 houses from 2,100 to 20, just under 2,100 houses in Ada County listed right now, which is a very low number. We should be around 3,000 to be in more of a healthy market. You got about 23% roughly of that is new inventory, new or under construction, which is booming. And so when you look at those numbers, I mean, I was like this last weekend I was on Viewpoint, and we discussed the fact of in my personal opinion, and I would not be surprised to see an 8 to 12% jump in the market the next 12 to 18 months.
I'm just glad my buddy Mark Johnson gave me credit for the show, for crying out loud. You've turned into it. You went from the magazines to radios. Now you're on show business.
I'm moving
Mark
on.
Johnson. I know. Dee Sarton just came by our office here, too, and wanted to know if you would actually anchor the 10 o'clock news. They said, no, you're busy with this show. Hey, update us on Canyon County, what's going on, because obviously as Ada County goes, now all of a sudden we start seeing Napa and Caldwell get that pop as well.
Well, I think and Canyon County, is, as we know, is just it's taken its lumps, and I'm not going to sit here and deny the fact that it has. And it's just kind of the same thing as Ada County. It's kind of remained pretty stagnant listing-wise. You kind of it's just sitting across the board. At roughly last week it was 973 houses. This week 970. Not a whole lot of movement going on there, and I think a lot of it is that pushed what's going on in Ada County is the people that were out in Canyon County can now afford to live in places like Meridian, where before the average price was $230,000. Now we're down to 160, 170. So these people can afford to live closer into work, closer to Boise.
Chris, I've told you about I'm seeing a lot of construction, new construction. What are you seeing as far as that median list price? What's out there?
Well, and this is the kind of the deal that people always ask me about. And, we're still around 150,000 or so for resale or, all inventory in general. But you look at new construction, median list price is $225,000. So it's
starting to chip away, isn't it?
Yeah. Week by week it's going up, Dave. And you look at closings, I think it's 211,000 now, roughly about. But you start looking at closings, well, people are turning to new construction, and the reason they're turning to new construction is they don't have a choice. So when they go out to Eagle or they go to Meridian or Boise or whatever, they start looking for a house, and they have their realtor, and they're out there looking, and that's it. There's nothing on the marketplace. So what they do is they're turning to new construction, and these builders are figuring out really quick of, hey, let's put some spec homes in the ground because these buyers, there's no product.
Yeah, and speaking of new homes, and Claudia grabbed me yesterday because it was the beginning of the Parade of Homes, and got to look at a couple of the homes out there. Of course, that event goes on all day today and tomorrow. There are some 40 homes. That's, as we said, it started yesterday, and it goes through the 20th. Chris, I think there's roughly 40 new homes out there for people to look at.
Yeah, there's actually, I believe there's 38, right, in the parade, which is
I said roughly 40. Now, just because you're on Channel 7 doesn't mean you got to start picking.
Now and that's looking at me and telling me 39. Now, I was wrong, too, so it's okay.
So the second time you made a mistake.
Yeah, and the thing is, I want people to really get out there and take a look. And you know what? We all know what it is. A lot of people want to look at, the designs. They have some beautiful, the way that it's, they just have it looking really nice. They got it all staged up and everything. We were over at Schaffner's home over in Greens, in Spruing Greens over there off of Chinden, and what a beautiful house he's built over there. And I just encourage people to really get out and take a look, whatever area you're looking, just get out and take a look at the new product that's out there, the new floor plans, etc.
Yeah, and I remember when he came on the show a couple of months ago, and he said, Dave, I've got to hurry up because May 5th is going to, and here we are, May 5th, and I can't wait to see his place. Hey, our next guest that's coming up, Aaron Seehawer from Concierge Legacy. I get his newsletter every week, and this is kind of a harbinger of things to come, but I was reading one of his headlines. It says, home sales jumped by 4.1%, and this is one of those cases of great news. And then you said, hey, Dave, I've got a great piece out of Phoenix. So our last 60 seconds here, share hopefully some good news nationally for a change that's headed our way.
Well, and again, we discuss other markets, okay, and how they affect our market. The biggest thing for me, is that I've lived in other markets. I went to Arizona State for a while. I lived in San Diego for 38 years, so I've been through these markets that have these big swings. And you start looking at these outside numbers, these markets are going to pop. I mean, Phoenix has got about 50% of their sales are investors. Okay, is that really a good sign? Possibly not, but it's going to drive the price, and the price will, just like in San Diego. Same thing's going on in San Diego. They have 7,000 homes. You look how big San Diego is. We have 2,000. They only have 7,000. So this whole thing's going to pop. And I know it's hard to believe and it's hard to understand. Like I said, if people want to reach out to me, call me personally, 514-5003 on my cell to discuss this. If you want to banter back and forth on what you believe and what I believe. And, my whole thing is I know what's going to happen. We all kind of know what's going to happen. You can kind of feel it in the air.
Well, you got 2 minutes to call him because we're going to take a timeout. And that gives you 2 minutes to pick up the phone and call Chris directly. When we come back, Aaron Seehawer of Concierge Legacy. We're going to hear Aaron's story and maybe find out a little bit about some investing ideas and what goes on with that as we continue on with the Real Estate Radio Show featuring Chris Lofthus of the Chris Lofthus Group, Keller Williams Realty. We will be back with more right after this timeout.